Because right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. Bob Pompeani here, manning the controls at 412-575-2600. You can call and air your opinions right here, right now. We do it 7 nights a week on KDKA+, and on most nights it's 93.7 The Fan, like it is tonight. And we welcome in Andrew Fillipponi from the PM team, who joins me over there right now. And let's talk first. It's NFL Draft Week. We'll get to hockey and some of the things Kyle Dubas said in a second, but you're 3 days away from this, Andrew, and it seems to me that this quarterback situation is going to go on for quite some time with Aaron Rodgers. So how do you think it will play on, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, when the Pittsburgh Steelers have to make selections at 21 and then none in the second round for now and third round and so on? Will they address quarterback at any point? Will it be early? Will it be later in the draft? Do they feel the need to do it at all if they think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be here? Because it's made it sound like he doesn't even know at this point.
I think they're going to take Shedeur Sanders. I think he's going to be their pick. I don't think that he's going to be off the board when they're on the clock. I think New Orleans is going to take a player on the defensive side of the ball with the 9th pick. I don't think a team is going to leapfrog the Steelers back into the first round to make sure that they get Sanders ahead of them. So I think he'll be there, and I think given what's been reported about their interest, having him here for a visit, Mike Tomlin's obsession with guys who come from great families, football families, whether that's the son of a player, a brother of a player. He loves that.
You think the coach can either stop or deal with them. Sometimes they get a little bit too big. We'll see how that goes. I'm not so sure Shedeur Sanders is going to be there, but if he is, I hope they don't take him. I would rather have it go next year. And if you're going to draft somebody this year, it would be in the middle rounds to me, and then work with that person. Because I'm not sold on any of the guys in the first round. That includes Cam Ward. I'm not so sure he's going to be able to take his talents and make it to the NFL.
So what would you do then, Bob?
I would do defensive line. We're going to have our poll of the night on, by the way, and it's simply this. What would you do with that 21st pick if you had a choice? Would you just keep it? Would you trade up if you felt the need? Maybe they do to get a quarterback now. Or would you trade back like they did back in 2001 when they got Casey Hampton at, I think it was 19, when they traded out of 16, but they got other picks and they could need other picks. Do you think that's a possibility? Because I do. I think that the possibility of them trading down a little bit, still getting a first-round pick, but not number 21, and adding to their draft collection of picks.
Well, I don't think moving back just a few spots is going to get them that second-round pick that they covet. I think it'll get them an extra pick or a better pick. I don't think it'll get them the pick they gave up for DK Metcalf or anything close to that. I think they want to do it, or they're open to it. Adam Schefter reported that today. Makes sense, given the fact that you're missing a premium pick and you want to, if you can afford to, still get a good player and then add another player who can impact your team in the long run somewhere else in the draft, and moving back would allow for you to do that. Bob, who is the defensive lineman that you'd want in the first round if you had your brothers?
The kid from Michigan impresses me. He's just one of those guys I think they could put in. The kid from Oregon, there are a lot of ways they can go there. I wouldn't even rule out wide receiver if they make a decision or not about George Pickens, which we should talk about that. If they decide to move on from him, and they're not going to show you their hand right now. They're keeping everything kind of tight to the vest, Andrew. It seems to me that they're going to keep him for this year, but they also know if you do that, that at the end of it, he's going to move on, and you will get a compensatory pick, but you may not get what you want, right here, right now for that player. So if they do decide to do it, first of all, do you think they will? And second of all, if they do, would you take a wide receiver in the first round?
Well, I think they should, because I think when they tell George that he's not getting a contract before this season, it's going to create a problem. Because I think he wants paid, and I don't think he feels like he has to perform to get paid, given how other wide receivers have been financially rewarded. And look, to me, he's just a guy that's too volatile. I don't think you can trust him. I don't think you can depend on him. You can't even count on him to show up on time for big games late in the season, like the Chiefs game incident. So, no, I don't want to pay him, and I'd rather trade him. And then, yeah, I would absolutely use one of those picks to take a wide receiver. I like the kid from Ohio State, Ibuka. It doesn't seem like he's really in their crosshairs right now, but he's somebody I like a lot. I think he's a dependable receiver. I think he's a future 100-catch guy. I think he's a better version of Deontay Johnson without the headache. So that's what I'd want, somebody like him. I think Golden from Texas had a huge game against Georgia in the SEC championship game and ran a 40 under 4.3. So he's another guy I would definitely have my eyes on. But I think as long as George is here and is at least content right now this week, I don't think that they'll trade him unless they are blown away by an offer, Bob. And what would that mean? I mean, is that a second-round pick? And would a team really want to give up that good of a pick and then pay him like the Steelers did with DK Metcalf? I don't think he's viewed around the league as favorably as DK Metcalf, and he shouldn't be because Metcalf has been a much better player.
Yeah, and quite frankly, this would be an opportunity if he stays here to complement DK Metcalf, and he should get more balls thrown in his direction given the coverage Metcalf should receive, and help George Pickens make a big deal for himself at the end of this season if he plays his cards right during this season in Pittsburgh. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the hockey stuff that's gone on. Kyle Dubas met with the media today. We'll talk about what he had to say in a thrilling finish tonight in Washington where the Capitals blew a 2-0 lead, but they win in overtime. And guess who got the game-winning goal? We'll talk about it when we continue right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. All right, this is our GMC. Make that the Xfinity mobile tweet of the night. Again, our habits are hard to get rid of sometime. This is from the Steelers' history, and on this day, they say they drafted Casey Hampton, 2001, Brett Kiesel, 2002. Both very good picks, very productive. And again, Casey Hampton was originally moved back in the draft. They had the 16th pick. They moved to 19. Jets took over 16. They got Santana Moss. The Steelers got Casey Hampton. Both worked out fine. The Steelers also got an extra 4th and a 6th round pick in that deal, aside from swapping the pick. So, maybe that's something on the board. Let me ask you this, Andrew, with regard to this. If there are no quarterbacks left, and if the Steelers do not get one of those, high-end guys, or at least the guys who are projected to be in the first round, what do you think they do the rest of the draft with regard to quarterback?
Oh, I think they're definitely taking one. I think we could see Kyle McCord, who had a horrible game here against Pitt when he threw 3 pick sixes for Syracuse. I think Jalen Milroe will probably be gone by the time the Steelers pick again in the 3rd round. I think the same thing's true with the Louisville quarterback, Tyler Shuck. I think Will Howard's a possibility. Hear mixed things on Will Howard from the Steelers. I think some like him, some don't. I think some very prominent people don't, which will make things kind of iffy on him. Had a horrible combine, one of the worst combine throwing sessions I've ever seen in my life. But he also just won a national championship, and he's big and he's strong, and he can throw the ball downfield. So, yeah, I think that's probably what they would do, Bob. I think they will take a quarterback at some point in this draft. If it's not 21, then I think it'll be the 3rd or 4th round. And maybe they'll wait until the 5th, but that would probably be the absolute latest.
Yeah, I agree. I think they will take one. I just would not encourage one in the 1st round. That's all. That's my opinion about that. I think they have other needs, and they can take care of quarterback beyond that if they get someone.
So you're a Mason Rudolph guy then? You think Mason should get that shot? I have no problem with that whatsoever. I think they're still meat on that bone.
What I don't know is Aaron Rodgers. I still don't know. I still think they're counting on him, and I still think at some point he'll say yes.
Are you convinced Aaron Rodgers is better than Mason Rudolph? Because I'm not.
He's a 4-time NFL MVP. How am I going to say that?
Well, and Terry Bradshaw's won 4 Super Bowls, and we're not digging him out of retirement to come quarterback.
No, but my point is, last year he had pretty decent numbers. I know some of them came against bad defenses, but the bottom line is, when protected, he still can put the ball where he needs to do it. He knows that part of the game very well. So the question would be, would he be productive behind this offensive line? And if the answer is yes, and I think they believe it can be yes, they would elevate their offense. So I'm not going to go that far. I do think Mason Rudolph get another opportunity. I thought it would have come last offseason after what he showed them in the final 3 games of the previous season where they qualified for the playoffs. And I thought outside of 1 interception throw in Buffalo, he did a pretty good job in that game considering the fact that he didn't start until the end of the year. So I thought that opportunity would have come last year. It came now more so out of desperation given the uncertainty that they have at quarterback. So we'll see how it's all going to play out. But I'm not ruling out Rodgers. I think they're going to wait as long as they have to wait. But it makes you wonder, what they do this coming Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Maybe they'll get an answer. Do you think that's possible from him?
No, not this week, not at all. Based on what he said in that McAfee interview about all these things in his personal life, he said multiple people in his inner circle are dealing with things, so I don't think they're all going to get figured out in the next few days just based on the tone and the language he was using. Look, I saw the guy go 5-12 last year, and if It's as simple as protect him better, he'll play better. Then what are the Vikings thinking? Then they should go get him because they can protect him and they have the wide receivers.
Well, they
and they
didn't
have
protect
the offensive
Darnold very
coaching
well
staff
in the
there.
playoff game. He had about 9 sacks in that game.
Well, Darnold didn't protect himself because he started seeing ghosts again, which is part of his problem in big games, Bob.
Yeah, well, I
and
still
also
think...
Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers in big games isn't exactly, since that Steelers Super Bowl, he hasn't really come through in the clutch. His playoff performances have actually been very poor, as a matter of fact. He's been a guy that has a bad reputation in big games ever since he beat the Steelers. That's 15 years ago, Bob, from him.
I understand that, but I still think I'd have to defer to being a 4-time MVP of the league. Let's go to the lines. We have our number 1 Cochrane Go One Better caller of the night. We begin with Travis in Mount Pleasant. Hello, Travis. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Hey, Pony. I'm wondering if they draft Sanders at number 1, are we going to repeat of a couple of years ago that we're going to have a cute quarterback battle, or what's going to happen?
So, in other words, it would be an open competition, or at least you think so, but it depends on who's here. I don't think you can answer that, can you, at this point?
Well, if Aaron Rodgers is here, he's the quarterback. If he's not, then it's an interesting question. Would Mike go the opposite route he did with Kenny and get Shedeur Sanders ready to be the starting quarterback week 1 and give him all the training camp reps, preseason reps, and let him get ready to play? Or will he slow play it again and go with Mason Rudolph and wait for Mason to struggle, have a bad game, and then go to Sanders? My preference would be to just give Sanders all that time to start, Bob, and put him in there week 1, just like the Commanders did with Jaden Daniels last year, and see what he can do. And if he gets hurt or if he struggles, then you can always go to Mason Rudolph at that point. But I want them to actually commit to a first-round pick and not do the wishy-washy thing like they did last time with Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, and Kenny Pickett, because I don't think that benefited any of those guys. I think all 3 suffered because of the way they handled the quarterback situation a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I will say this also. Mason Rudolph's money dictates more of a backup role based on what he's going to be with, $4 million a year, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
That's not starter money, so I don't think they had illusions of that, although I still think he can get the job done if he's in there. And, again, we saw evidence of that the last time we saw him here in Pittsburgh. Let's go to Josiah in San Antonio, Texas. Hello, Joe. How are you?
So, good in yourself, Bob. Hey, Andrew. Got a couple quick points for Andrew. I don't know if you saw that report. Derek Carr's shoulder is terrible. So I'm thinking they're going to draft Shedeur Sanders. And, Andrew, you can't be serious. Mason Rudolph is nowhere near Aaron Rodgers. Even though Rodgers is older, I mean, come on, Andrew. You got to get this a break, bro.
Who took a team to the playoffs more recently between the two?
Yeah, but again, this is an entire resume worth of quarterbacking that we're talking about with Aaron Rodgers. Do you think the Steelers want him because they think he can just be a contributor, or do you think they think that if they get him, they have a chance to win?
No, it's obviously that.
Well, then
it's obviously the latter.
Right. So that's what they're thinking, and that's what I would be thinking too. But again, it comes down to how they protect him and how they utilize him so that he doesn't, sustain a whole bunch of pressure and hits.
I mean, everyone wants to write off Mason Rudolph. Everyone wanted to write off Geno Smith. I take him over what the Steelers have right now. The guy was basically dead and buried. Seattle made the smart call to dump Russell Wilson and play him, and the guy never had a losing season there. And I believe either led the league in passing yards last year or came pretty close and just got paid by his former coach in Vegas. Sam Darnold, everybody wanted to kill him. 30 touchdown passes and $100 million later, and he's the starter in Seattle now. So I don't know. I mean, look, Mason did dig his own grave at times here with poor play, but he played really well 2 years ago in the biggest of games. And I don't know. I mean, how many quarterbacks would have done well in Tennessee last year? They were the worst team in the NFL for a reason. Bad line, bad receivers, bad team all around. So I don't know. I think that there might be something to Mason Rudolph. I'd like to see him get an opportunity. I'd rather see a 29-year-old quarterback play than a 41-year-old quarterback play. Is that crazy?
No, I would have rather seen
what's a 41-year-old quarterback gonna
Justin
get me?
Fields play. That's who I wanted, and they would have solved themselves all this agony over this decision, and we could have moved on with other things. So I still think, to use your logic, Justin Fields can do the same thing. And they apparently didn't think so, or at least not enough to give him the kind of money. If you're saying that you can see a Geno Smith elevation into the player he's become, why couldn't you see that with Justin Fields? If you could see it with Sam Darnold, why wouldn't you see it with Justin Fields? I think they should have signed him and made him a better offer.
Well, I mean, if I'm choosing between Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers, I agree with you 100%. It's not close to me. I mean, what happens? So what happens if Aaron Rodgers has a good year, Bob? Then what? Then you bring him back at 42?
No. I mean,
what's right? So like,
1 year.
So what's the end game here?
The end game is
it's
they don't
1 year
have
of him trying to.
Andrew, this was not their off-season plan, right? There's no way they went into this in the offseason and said, okay, Aaron Rodgers is our number one target. No. This is all because of how things transpired. But they believe, given what's out there right now, that he could be the guy who does the things necessary because he's done it over, a 3-decade, whatever this has been.
If you draft Shedeur Sanders in the first round, I see no point in signing Aaron Rodgers. I'd want to play my first-round quarterback.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they do, we got to go to a break, but if they do take him, I wonder if Aaron Rodgers will say, I'm not going there now. You never know how he's thinking. So, okay, I'm getting 2 raps from Jeremiah. That means we've gone too long. Sorry about that. We'll take a break. Come back with more right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. So what's coming up tonight? KDKA News at 11 o'clock. Here is Ken Rice with that.
Hey, Bob, we're going to be sharing how Pittsburgh is remembering Pope Francis tonight. Plus, Governor Josh Shapiro preparing to move his family back into the mansion in Harrisburg days after the arson attack. And Ray Petlin is tracking a sunny stretch before rain returns. All coming up right here at 11, Bob.
All right, Ken, thanks very much. There was a game 1 tonight between Montreal and the Washington Capitals, who had the best record in the Eastern Conference. And today, that one went to Washington.
Anthony Beauvillier had that assist, too. So he had a 2-point game and played on that top line for the Capitals. Crazy.
He really is. All right, Pony, let's do it again tomorrow night. We'll see you then, okay?
See you, Bob.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you. We're short on time, as always. We'll see you tomorrow night.